Okay, I've started the recording for today's lecture. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Hope you are doing good today. Today we'll be starting lecture 4 on this entrepreneurship, and in this lecture we will be discussing external analysis. So let's jump into our learning objectives. Today's learning objectives are how to describe how to examine the industry that the new businesses and plans to enter. So this can give us some good insights into which industries and how to decide about the industry. Then we'll be discussing how to create a profile of the target customers for new businesses. And then we'll explain how to categorize competitors of the new businesses using external analysis. And then from a lesson from our famous entrepreneur towards the end of the lecture. Okay, so first of all, we need to define the industry. So we are trying to choose like which industry we are going to go into. So entrepreneurs should be very specific as possible while they are defining the industry. Okay, so if opening an ice cream store, entrepreneurs should ask themselves, so you have to focus, what is ice cream? Okay, and what needs that it is fulfilling. So then you will look into like what are the possible competitors for this product that we are trying to offer to the market. So in this way, we'll have to look into it, like in what industry does a new ice cream store compete? So does it include desserts providers such as bakeries? Does it compete with the grocery stores that sell packaged ice creams? Is it high-end or high milk fat ice cream? So basically, you have to define your market. So defining the industry is not to be taken lightly. Why? Because if you are not properly identifying industry in which you are going to go into, then you will not be able to understand your competition, and then you will not be able to understand your customers. So you'll be mistargeting. So that's why it's very crucial that you should know your target, and your target market should be in such a way that it is going to provide you adequate amount of revenue that you are looking for. Okay, what are the means through which we can get information about the industry? Obviously, one of the best mode is through online search, Google search. This can give you industry magazines, journals can also give you an idea, and you can also look into industry associations and the chambers, a list of the chambers of industries that are in the market. So you need to do a little bit of research before you just are planning to commit or to invest into some business, because that can be very lethal if you do not properly identify your target industry and your target customers. Now, how we can define your industry? Entrepreneurs should define their industry broad enough to include all potential competitors. So your industry should be broad enough that all your competitors come, but not so broad as to overwhelming. So you should not make it so broad that all the relevant and irrelevant businesses you are taking into account. So that will lose your focus. So you have to be very clear about a practical level of actual competition. So if what is the reasonable geographical customer draw for a new business? Like what are the areas where your customers are living and they will be coming and purchasing your products and services? So we are talking about the geographical area, which location you're going to open this ice cream shop? These are important questions. One have to answer them, and the more accurate you will be, the more effective it's going to be for your businesses. So if you want to identify an industry, it comprises of companies within a specific geography or geographic radius that will be in direct competition for the same customers and sales as that of the new business. Okay, so if you try to identify the competition for a petrol station, we are planning to start a new petrol station. So your handwriting is like this. Then you would exactly know like where are your competitors' petrol stations are located. Okay, so then you can identify your area which is not being served by your competitors, and you can just offer your services over there. So petrol pumps or petrol stations are a simple example as compared to some products that can be like more confusing when you're talking about the substitute items that are being served in the market. For example, if you are trying to open a Mazda outlet at a particular location, or Albaik, so what are your competitions? Could you please write down the competition? Students, can you please write down the competition for the like Mazda? If we are planning to offer Mazda. Mazda is a QSR, it's a quick sales restaurant. We also call them fast food, yes? This is QSR, which we call quick sales restaurants or fast food. Okay, so their competition, Mazda competition would be with the Albaik and KFC, McDonald's, what else? So these are the direct competition, yes? Then other restaurants, the small restaurant, they can also be your competition. Okay, they are substitute products, they are not QSRs, but somebody might go and try to eat kapsa, so they are also your indirect competitors. But at least you have identified your industry, so you are in the food industry, yes? And you should not be very generic, like in food, there can be vegetables and fruit industry. So we have to be very clear that we are into a restaurant and business. Now, how would we define our customers? Because this is tricky. You see, how would we define our customers? Because this is tricky. You see, BMW is also offering a car, and Toyota is also offering a car. Are their customers the same? They both buy cars, but their customers are different. BMW offers to high-end customers, and Toyota offers to normal low-end customers. Okay, so they are not in a direct competition, even though they are in the same market. So entrepreneurs should define a narrow group of individuals whom they believe will be their most likely customer. So BMW, Ferrari, Lamborghini, they know that their narrow customer line is profitable. So they do not need to make thousands of cars to compete Toyota, but they have handful amount of narrow group which is profitable enough for them. They have to be diligent in the efforts to be accurate as possible. Like here in Kingdom, we have 5 real. This 5 real shop. Sometimes in UK we have £5 shop. £5 shop. Let me try to make that symbol for 5 real. And we have some dollar shop as well. Okay, so their clientele is defined. The low-end people, they just go to buy economical products from them. So what it helps us, the new businesses, it helps us to focus on the core customers. So the more narrowly or accurately you will be defining your customer base, the more advantages it's going for you, because you will have a better understanding of your customers. Then you can define their value. Okay. Then maintaining a strategic distance from its competitor. The more you understand your products, the more you can create it more specific to your customers. It is going to fulfill their needs and expectancy, and that will make you a competitive advantage over your competitors. And this can also help you to control expenses, because if you do not fully identify your target market, then it's going to be a huge wastage of say marketing cost. For example, if we try to identify a target market for say iPhone 16 Pro Max. Okay, so Pro Max. So if we say our target market is about 20 years plus, so that may go to 65 years. Okay, just for the sake of example, I'm sharing this. But what happens is, if you study the data, you will get they will go from 20 years to say 50 years, they are dense, and then from 50 to 60, this 15 years to 65, these 15 years, this is very low. So what is happening? For example, if you are running digital marketing, if you're running targeted advertisements, all the targeted advertisements will be lost here. So that's why we need to control, and if we are trying to make them happy, we're trying to understand their particular needs. So probably they are not the right kind of customers. So these are the right kind of customer, 20 to 50 years old, to whom we should be providing this product. And these are the influential customers. They are making a good pie of the overall our sales. Okay, now then we have to developing the information for the external analysis of competitors. You'll need to identify exact competitors. In the previous slide, we talked about our customers. Now we try to understand our competitors who directly compete for the same set of ideal customers. So by researching the industry themselves, the entrepreneurs will gain invaluable insights. So you need to understand what kind of competitors are available. You can go through the yellow pages early on. Now you can go and check even through the Google. You can check how many businesses are registered on the Google. That can give you some idea, and then you can also make themselves an expert. So when you'll be studying your competitors, you'll get more useful insights Probably you'll see how they are doing the businesses, how many vans are there, what kind of stock they have, how they are dealing with their customers. So lots of things you can learn from your competitor. Then you'll become an expert, and you will see what things they are not doing correctly, so how you can offer them superiorly. It will enable them to plan a business with a competitive advantage. So you'll see the weaknesses in the businesses and try to overcome in your proposed future business. Then you'll have to have a good knowledge of the market. So when planning new development like a golf course, so imagine you are planning that I'm planning to develop a golf course in a particular area. So what particular dimensions you should be looking for? Because this is very crucial for you to understand your market dynamics. So first thing is your customers. You should have like the right kind of customers available in that area. Then you will be looking for this area, the price for the land, and availability of the land as well. Okay, and then you'll have to see these customers, even though yes they are powerful enough, they can buy, and they can afford golf, but is this like one of their preferred hobby or not? So probably you'll need to do a survey before just going and purchasing the land or making a lease for, so say, 100 years, and then you find like most of the customers, they're not turning out to become your members. So what activities would you want to control personally when develop your business? And you'll have to look into like what are the areas on we need to work. Then defining your actual customers. That is again very crucial. It's effective industry analysis starts by identifying every potential competitor within a reasonable distance and of location. So your job is to identify every potential customer. Now you can go a bit broad. As I talked to you, like you can for Mazda, KFC and Outback is our customer, but your any restaurants there within that area, they are also your competitor. So first step you have to do is to define a radius from which one can draw or his her customer. So you should define your area, like you live in Albandiria, So you should define your area, like you live in Albandiria, or Al Khaldiya. So these are the regions you can define, like what is the maximum customers radius they can come to our outlet. So second step is examining each of your potential competitors within this radius. So see like what is their strength and what are their weaknesses, and then you can pick and choose the right location for your outlet, and then you can define your customer base in a very appropriate manner. No additional issues as we were talking about, that sometimes it's not very easy to just talk about your products. You should also be considering the substitute products. So if you're talking about some juices, so your juices competition is with juices as well, and then it's with soft drinks as well. Yes. So sometimes a person goes for juice and they just pick out the soft drink. Probably tea or chai is also a substitute product. Sometimes it can be coffee. Okay. So for the juices, these can be substitute products. So they can also change the customer's behavior. So you'll have to look up for the substitute products that are being sold in that region. Then you'll have to look for the elasticity of the demand. Elasticity of the demand is means what happens if the price increases. If the price increases, does the quantity go down, demand for quantity, or does it remain the same? Okay, so if the demand does not go down, the natural phenomena, like if you increase the price of the product, it should be, the demand should be decreasing. But for the brands, when they develop the branding, so sometimes people or the customer do not switch from one brand to another, or to some extent of the price they will not shift at least. So that tells us how much elasticity of the price and demand is available. For example, let me give you an idea. Here there is a customer for Rabi tea, which is a Saudi tea, and if you increase like 2 real increase, so somebody who likes this taste, they will not switch over to Lipton. Okay, but if, for instance, you increase 10% price, then you can see customers switch to the other brands. Then another dimension that you have to look into, that is the ease of entry or exit. Ease of entry means what kind of industry you are going to go into. If the initial capital investment is high, it means this is a big business that no other businesses will try to come into. So you will expect the same kind of customers over the period of time. But if the ease of business is like there are no fixed cost, capital investment is required, so new businesses, when they see this is a good profit margin market, so they will jump into it. So ease of business entry and exit. Similarly, if the businesses in which ease of entry is not easy, so their exit is also difficult. For example, if an industry to establish and run this industry, say some manufacturing industry, you need 2.5 million of one machine, and then 1.5 million of another machine, and building and developing this building that requires 1 million. So say this is like 2.5 plus 5, 3, 4, 5. Say it's a 5 million investment. So no like business will try to come into this industry, and then when they are trying to sell this industry, then it's very hard to sell off. So the exit barriers are also high. Benchmarking is like when you are comparing yourself with other customers, other businesses in the field. Businesses do benchmarking just to make themselves to understand how well or bad they are doing in the market or industry. So it's very important which company you are benchmarking with. It should be more close to you so that it will give you an idea how you are performing. Industry trends are the overall industries. Like there are some industries that go up, and there are some industries they go down. Okay, so we were talking about this AI industry is nowadays on the boom, and then in AI industry, you'll have to see which particular industries are booming and which particular industries are going down. Like Vivo was having a competition with Chinese, I think DeepSeek, and DeepSeek has recently gained very high market shares over the period of time. So we'll have to have a close look on which technology is going to be prevailing in the next future. So if you'll be spending huge investment into the wrong technology, then you can be miserably wrong. Benchmarking, let's explain this, working with and learning from company outside of one's industry that has a particular skill that are potential critical to one's operation. So you can make any company that can serve as a benchmark for you, but it can be outside of your industry. because it's going to tell us like how we can be more effective. We can look at their skills, we can look on their operations. Benchmarking a business that is successful in a particular area but that does not compete in one's own industry can be considered to strengthen areas of competitive advantage. So it will be helpful for you to improve your weaknesses. Most companies will share knowledge as long as one is not a competitor. Many companies they do benchmarking, they do share the knowledge because they might not be competing with each other. Some companies make strategic alliance. We were just talking with strategic alliance with other companies which are not direct your competitors. We were talking about Starbucks. With Spotify. Starbucks. With Spotify. So bad writing. So Spotify, you know, it's a music industry, so they joined their hands together. Spotify is developing music for the Starbucks, and they are having their man music being played by Spotify. And the industry trends, they shape the long-term perspective of the industry. So one has to keep a close eye on the industry. The United States is moving to a self-service economy. The companies that can move that process forward or to take advantage of this movement appears to have an opportunity for success. So we have seen like in Europe, they have also moved from manufacturing to services industry. So, and this helped them a lot. All the manufacturing have we moved to China and rest of the world. Healthy mid-price range restaurant sales have been increasing dramatically in America, which is mid-size restaurants, healthy restaurants. Okay, restaurant that enters an emerging market may be able to create a niche and gain a competitive advantage. What is a competitive advantage? The edge that a business has over its competing businesses, made up of those things that the businesses does better than any businesses in the industry. Okay, so all the businesses try to work on the skills, capabilities, operations, or any distinctive advantage they have over their competitors, and they try to sustain it so that they cannot copy. Your competitors cannot copy you. So you need to work on your competitive skills, and you have to work on the things that you are doing better than your competitor. So understanding the competitive advantage is the last step in external analysis. And reason why customers go to one particular business and not to one of its competitor is because of the competitive advantage that you have. Okay, so businesses need to understand that what is that is unique in our business that is not in the other business. So they have to capitalize upon those competitive advantage. If the outlook of the, for example, if the outlook of the mobile or its features or its, you know, so interior or exterior, and you should, or the engineering stuff in the mobile, so you should levy that. You can go and study the cream idea that is also provided in the video, how the Kareem has got this idea from Uber and how they have successfully implemented this. Okay, towards the end we will discuss our lesson from a famous entrepreneur. We know William Henry Gates, he is also called Bill Gates. is the founder of Microsoft, which he launched along with Paul Allen in 1975. And his quotation is, if you can't make it good, at least you can make it look good. So if there's one lesson that you want to learn from Bill Gates, is that be your own boss and start early. Okay, so today's questions for review are, how would you advise a potential entrepreneur to define the industry? We have gone through different dynamics of the industry, so by now you should be able to explain this. And how should a new business develop a profile for its competitors, potential customers? Why should a potential entrepreneur research the industry personally? And we have seen like why it is important for the entrepreneur, because it will make him expert and understand the businesses of his competitors. Okay, so by this we have reached to the end of today's lecture. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask, or you can message me. Okay, I can stop.